Hello and welcome to a new sketchbook tour. In this sketchbook tour, I thought I will share with you some sketches and some illustrations with a winter and holiday theme, because in Europe during these months we usually have snow or it's quite cold, and also some of the people are getting ready for the festive mood. So I thought I can share some of the inspiration, and maybe you can let me know in the comments if you are also in the mood to draw winter inspired illustrations or basically holiday theme. So anyway, let's get into it because I haven't done a sketchbook tour for a while. So yeah. As you can see in this illustration, I am using the paper texture background. So I have some texture behind my sketches. And in this sketchbook spread, I wanted to practice drawing some animals because I chose some of the prompts from the drawing list in my art club, which was also Winter Fox and Winter Wonderland. And one of the other prompts was also the fawn in the other drawing prompt list, which I found on Instagram, because I think it's so fun to join other challenges, and I think it's also great to draw with some restrictions or restraints because that helps you to develop your own style. So you can see here the colored version, and I also explored a little bit different color combinations or color palette, still keeping the limited color palette for this piece, and some of the Scandinavian inspired iconography and details, because I still really like the shapes and icons that you can see in Scandinavia, and after living there for so long, I think it influenced my art and my design taste a lot. Alright, so here is another sketchbook spread which you might have already seen. But on this one, I decided to color one of the scenes which I haven't filled in before. So in this scene, as you can see, I again worked with a little bit different color palette than I tried before, because I think, as I said, it's great to try out some different color palettes. But basically, I started with some blue color tones, which I think they are quite classic alongside the white tones to kind of fill in winter landscapes. But here I tried orangey and pinkish color tones in the background, and I also shared the process images, how I came to this result in the art club, in case you want to see more step-by-step behind this image. And here is another winter inspired illustration, and this one was created with focus on simplification and what shapes you can use when drawing bears. And I created this as a tutorial also for my art club, because most of the people voted for this theme as a next tutorial. So here we go, the bears, and I quite like how they turned out, and I think especially this one is my favorite. The expression on the bear and basically how it's sitting on the backside. I think it's pretty cute, and also this one which is just lying down. And I think it's definitely interesting to explore drawing bears, because you can play around with different styles because they have such a nice round shapes, especially when they are very fluffy. Okay, here is another winter kind of winter inspired illustration, because it can rain in many parts of the world during winter, and rain can be also quite soothing, and I think it's interesting to draw people in different outfits when they are out and about in colder months. And this illustration was made for the class about character balance, where I talk about how you can balance the characters and basically what to focus on when you draw characters in motion. And also during this class as a sketchbook, you can practice a lot drawing different poses with focus on character balance, and with focus also either on wintry clothes or some other activities that you want to illustrate with maybe rain or winter season in mind. Next, I have some cats which I sketched actually last year for the prompt of basically holiday season and how cats are sometimes little rascals when it comes to Christmas trees and kind of like maybe climbing into the socks or tangling themselves with the Christmas lights, or maybe exploring the presents and then they end up being wrapped in kind of Christmas ribbons or something like that. So anyway, this one was definitely fun to make, and maybe this year I want to color some of these illustrations as well from this sketchbook spread. Because as you can see here, I already colored one of the illustrations and I think it was definitely fun to make, and maybe this can be as a cute sticker or maybe a collection of stickers, because cats, they're quite cute, and who doesn't like cat illustrations, right? I mean, I'm sure there is a lot of us who like cat illustrations. And here you can see a full sketchbook spread which I finished last year based on the illustrations that I created for this theme, and you can see also the process videos here on YouTube if you're interested for both of these illustrations. Here I have another Christmas inspired illustration which you might have seen last year, but I wanted to show you this one as well, as this sketchbook tour is holiday inspired. So here you can see the sketch versus the colored version, and I looked at different inspiration for the pajamas because I wasn't sure if I want to have a checkered pajama or with flowers, because I wanted to add some texture or pattern on these outfits for these girls. But I think at the end I would choose maybe different pattern, because this pattern is very close to these Christmas decorations, and maybe geometric pattern would be better, or maybe it would be fun if they wear like dotted outfits, same as the Dalmatians. So not really like 101 Dalmatians type of thing, that white outfit with dark dots, but maybe they can be colorful. So maybe I'll adjust this illustration based on this thought, and after kind of going back to the illustration, because sometimes when you look at your older illustrations you get new ideas, or maybe you can redraw them, kind of the way of learning and improving your skills, right? I definitely like to do that. Then I included this illustration which you might have seen already because it's kind of blue themed. So this is not specifically winter illustration, but I think it fits with the color palette. Then this one has the similar theme, so it's also kind of blue limited color palette, which you can also see on this scene, which looks more covered in snow because I used blue color tones. Then we have this sketchbook spread with the corgis, and this is the colored version of the corgis with a winter background, which I try to keep very simple. As you can see, they are mostly just trees. So if we go to the next illustration, you might have seen this one in the past because this one is a little bit older, and when I'm looking at this, I might add more textures. So this is how I would improve this, and maybe I would emphasize the theme going from the house, and maybe also kind of like a stronger light coming from the window of the house to improve the storytelling. Alright, so this is another illustration I did a long time ago, inspired by dogs in sweaters for Christmas time. So here is the colored version, and for this one I also get to work on a commission for bandanas for the dogs, because this one was a great inspiration which the client saw after sharing this during the workshop. So basically this is just a quick reminder that you never know who is looking at your social media. So share your sketches, your illustrations, and this might bring you projects that you would love to work on. And here is another illustration with the winter theme. And this one was a commission for the icon illustrations for a newsletter. And I also quite like how these turned out. As you can see, they were inspired by cookies. And I think they work very well also as a pattern. So you can also reuse your artworks with different purpose, depending on the contracts you have with clients, of course. Alright, here is another sketchbook spread where I was practicing typography or lettering, and also I was exploring different shapes which I wanted to try out. Here is another older sketch where I was testing out different textures and different perspectives. I don't like how this turned out, but I quite like the colors in the sky, the combination of pink and yellow. So basically testing out different things, sometimes work out and sometimes don't, but that's why we have sketchbooks, whether it's traditional or digital, right? So here is another older illustration where I was trying to compare different colors at night and during sunrise and how they can reflect on snow. And here you can see similar idea where I tried the sunrise colors compared to these more midnight colors where the snow is still very bright but the sky is quite dark. So you can test out different versions or different limited color palettes for the sky while you keep the snow like white or very pale color combination. And here is another winter inspired illustration layout, and as you can see here I have more animals, and this is one of the concepts that I illustrated for the book, and this spread was inspired by polar and melting ice, so basically not inspired by the theme of this illustration spread was the impact on the environment and melting ice and what animals or which animals live in this part of the world. And here is the full illustration where you can see that I have spots or space where I left for the text, which was later edited by the graphic designer. But overall, I really like how this page spread turned out, how the colors are working together, and then you also see this above the water and under the water environment. And I had a lot of fun working on this project, and it would be great to work on more projects where you can include more animals and different types of environments. And here is another winter inspired illustration. Even though with the pink color tones you might feel like that it's not maybe wintry, but as you can see by this huge coat on this character, I think it works so well for the winter illustrations. And this illustration was done for one of the Draw This in Your Style challenges, and I really enjoyed working on this character. And here is another illustration with a kind of big wintry coat and a scarf. And as you can see here, I was exploring different designs related to coffee. So this was for a commission where I worked on different small illustrations, like a spot illustrations related to coffee, but this project at the end didn't happen. Here is another winter-inspired exploration, and as you can see I have seals and they have like white color, which I think they look more wintry when they are so pale with this darker background, and I wanted to replicate these icebergs coming out of the water but more in the simplified shapes compared to the illustration that I showed you previously. So I quite like exploring these shapes, which I think fit quite well for a pattern design like this. Then I have another scene which was inspired by winter, and this was another commission based on one of my older illustrations where the client saw that illustration and wanted location like that but more as a winter theme. And here you can see her playing with her dogs, which is like a subtle implementation into this illustration. So this turned out to be as a A3 print, or I think A2 even. So I made this print quite big, and I think it turned out quite well. So this was based on a mountain location, and I like the combination of these darker blue and purple tones in this illustration. And here is another concept where I was exploring this winter village, but I included more deers in the foreground. And here is the final illustration where the deers are here in the foreground, and I use these more geometrical simplified shapes, and as you see I also added some small characters here in the background. And I like how these houses look more like a candy or a gingerbread house, so this was definitely fun shape or color combination to explore for the houses. Alright, and here is another blue spread which you might have already seen in one of my last videos, but I wanted to include this spread because it has the blue limited color palette, which I think again works quite well for the winter illustrations, even though this is beach and this is lake. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video and it brought you some inspiration, and please let me know in the comments if you like to illustrate also winter or holiday theme illustrations, or you prefer more lush and summery theme art. So yeah, thank you so much for watching again, and see you in the next video. Bye!